The unexpected variable. Captain Ilara Reyes stood at the viewport of the ESS Pathfinder, Earth's first true deep space exploration vessel. The stars stretched before her like distant diamonds against the black canvas of space. After 6 months in the uncharted sectors beyond the Orion Arm, her crew had documented dozens of new stellar phenomena, but nothing that would truly change humanity's understanding of the cosmos. Until today. "Captain, you need to see this." Lieutenant Commander Jackson's voice crackled through her comm unit. The excitement in his typically stoic voice made Ilara raise an eyebrow. In the science bay, her exploration team had gathered around a holographic display showing a peculiar object. A dodecahedron approximately 2 meters in diameter, with a surface that seemed to shift between solid matter and energy. "We found it orbiting that dead star in Sector 419, explained Dr. Amara Okafor, the ship's xenophysicist. "It's composed of materials we can't identify, and it's emitting radiation patterns unlike anything in our database." Ilara studied the rotating projection. "Any signs of who created it?" "That's the fascinating part," Amara replied. "Carbon dating puts it at approximately 1.2 million years old. Whichever civilization built this predates every known spacefaring species in the galaxy. The most interesting thing," added Jackson, "is how it responds to our scans. The energy signature intensifies whenever we direct our equipment at it, almost like it's aware." Following standard protocols, they secured the artifact in a containment field and began a thorough analysis. For 3 days, the science team worked around the clock, each discovery leading to more questions than answers. On the 4th day, everything changed. "Captain," the tactical officer's voice was tense. "Unknown vessel approaching at bearing 240. They've appeared out of nowhere. No warp signature, no FTL distortion. Yellow alert. Open communications," Ilara ordered, straightening her uniform. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a being with silvery blue skin and elongated features. Its eyes, 3 of them, blinked in vertical succession. "Human vessel." The alien spoke in perfect English. "I am Overseer Falcor of the Galactic Concordat. You have retrieved an artifact that belongs to species far more advanced than yours. Surrender it immediately." Ilara maintained her composure. "Overseer, I'm Captain Ilara Reyes of Earth Space Service. We discovered this artifact in unclaimed space. By interstellar law, we have the right to study it. Your species has existed in space for barely a century." Falcor replied with unmistakable condescension. "The Concordat has maintained galactic order for 50,000 years. The artifact you found is one of 17 precursor nodes scattered across this galaxy. They are not meant for primitive species like yours." Ilara bristled at the insult, but kept her voice level. "If they're so dangerous, why were they left unguarded?" "They were never unguarded. Your presence in that system was unexpected. The nodes remain dormant around evolved species. They are relics of the past, nothing more." Dr. Okafor whispered to Ilara, "Captain, that contradicts our readings. The artifact has been increasingly responsive to human proximity." Ilara nodded slightly. "Overseer, we respect the Concordat's authority, but we've broken no laws. We'll continue our research while maintaining all safety protocols." Falcor's middle eye narrowed. "You misunderstand, Captain. This is not a negotiation. The node will be surrendered to the Concordat within your planetary day, or we will take action. Humanity is too young, too unpredictable to be trusted with such power." The transmission ended abruptly. "Options?" Ilara asked her senior staff, gathered in the conference room minutes later. "We could surrender the artifact," suggested her first officer, Commander Rivera. "Diplomatic relations with the Concordat would benefit Earth, and let them dismiss us as obedient children," countered Security Chief Tanaka. "They already see us as primitive. Giving in reinforces that perception." Dr. Okafor cleared her throat. "There's something else you should know, Captain. During our analysis, We've detected unprecedented neural activity in humans who approach the artifact. It's as if it's attempting to communicate, but only with us. Why us and not them? Ilara asked. Unknown. But the Concordat seemed certain the node would remain dormant. The fact that it's responding to humans specifically, that's significant. Ilara made her decision. Set course for Earth. Maximum speed. We need to get this artifact to the Mars research station before the Concordat decides to take it by force. The journey back to Earth became a race against time. Twice, Concordat vessels appeared, demanding the artifact. Twice, the Pathfinder escaped, pushing its experimental drive beyond recommended limits. When they finally reached Earth's orbit, a delegation of Earth's finest scientists was waiting. The artifact was transferred to the heavily fortified Mars research station, where Dr. Elena Chen, Earth's foremost expert on xenotechnology, took charge of the research team. The structure is unlike anything we've ever encountered, Dr. Chen explained during a briefing 3 weeks later. It appears to be responding specifically to human brainwave patterns. When exposed to other species, the research chimps, even our AI systems, it remains inert. What does that mean? Asked Admiral Zhou from Earth Central Command. It means, Dr. Chen said with barely contained excitement, that there's something unique about human consciousness that resonates with this technology. Something the Concordat species don't possess. Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Security feeds showed multiple Concordat vessels entering the solar system, bypassing Earth's early warning systems. They're here for the artifact, Ilara realized. Admiral Zhou's expression darkened. Then we're out of time. Captain Rice, your discovery, your call. What do we do with the node now? All eyes turned to Ilara as she considered humanity's options against a technologically superior force. The Concordat had made their position clear. Humanity was too unpredictable, too emotional, too impulsive to be trusted with precursor technology. Perhaps, Ilara thought, those very traits were exactly what made humans different. Dr. Chen, she said finally, you said the artifact responds to human consciousness. Can we establish a deliberate connection? Dr. Chen hesitated. Theoretically, yes, but we have no idea what would happen. We're about to find out, Ilara replied, moving toward the containment chamber. Because right now, our unpredictability might be the only advantage we have. As Concordat forces approached Mars orbit, Ilara placed her palm against the artifact's shifting surface. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the node pulsed with brilliant light, its geometric patterns rearranging and flowing like liquid metal. The sensation began as a tingling in her fingertips, then rushed up her arm and into her mind. In that moment, Ilara understood. The precursors hadn't left the nodes as weapons or tools. They'd left them as keys. Keys designed to unlock potential in species that evolved along specific cognitive pathways. Pathways that humanity, in its chaotic, emotional evolution, had stumbled upon entirely by accident. Information flooded her consciousness, not as data or language, but as pure understanding. The node wasn't just responding to human neural patterns, it was designed for them. Or rather, for any species that developed similar cognitive frameworks. The Concordat's first warning shot hit the Martian surface kilometers away, shaking the research facility. Through the node's connection, Ilara sensed the truth. The Concordat had discovered the nodes millennia ago, but had never been able to activate them. They'd declared themselves guardians not out of altruism, but fear that younger species might succeed where they had failed. And now, humanity had proven that fear justified. As Concordat forces prepared to launch a full assault, Ilara Rais stood at the precipice of a decision that would forever change humanity's place in the galaxy. The node had recognized something in human consciousness that the Concordat lacked, something the precursors had been searching for when they scattered their keys across the stars. Now, humanity would have to prove worthy of that recognition, breaking every limit. The Concordat's ultimatum, echoed through Earth's communication channels. Surrender the precursor node or face extinction. In the Mars Research Facility's central chamber, Captain Ilara Reyes remained connected to the ancient artifact. Her consciousness expanded beyond ordinary human perception. Through the node, she perceived the approaching Concordat fleet, not as distant ships, but as bright points of intent and purpose in the fabric of space itself. "Their weapons are charging," reported Lieutenant Commander Jackson, monitoring defense systems. "Orbital platforms won't hold them for long." Dr. Chen studied the readings from Ilara's neural interface. "Captain, your brainwave patterns are synchronizing with the node's energy signature. Whatever's happening, it's accelerating." Ilara barely heard them. Through her connection with the node, she was accessing knowledge locked away for over 1,000,000 years. Understanding without words, concepts without language. The precursors had seeded these nodes throughout the galaxy as evolutionary catalysts, designed to activate only when they encountered a species that had developed along specific cognitive pathways. "They evolved for logic," Ilara whispered, her eyes still closed. "The Concordat species. They engineered their own evolution, eliminating what they considered inefficient traits. Empathy, intuition, creative insight. They thought they were perfecting themselves." Admiral Joe's voice came through on the emergency channel. "Captain, we need options. Earth's defense fleet is mobilizing, but we're outmatched 10-1. They're afraid of us." Ilara continued, the realization crystallizing in her mind. "Not because we're violent or unpredictable, but because we evolved the traits they deliberately removed from themselves. The precursors were looking for species that balanced logic with intuition, analysis with creativity." As the first Concordat weapons struck Mars' defensive shields, Ilara made her decision. She pushed deeper into the connection, allowing the node's energy to flow through her consciousness and into the research facility's systems. "Captain," Dr. Chen exclaimed, "the node's energy signature is extending throughout our network." Across the solar system, something unprecedented occurred. Every human-created system, from Mars' defense grid to Earth's orbital platforms, began operating with impossible efficiency. Predictive algorithms became flawless. Power systems exceeded designed capacities without overheating. Communication networks achieved perfect synchronization. Through the node, humanity's technology had been elevated beyond its engineering limitations. "What's happening?" demanded Admiral Joe as reports flooded in from across Earth's defenses. "We're adapting," Ilara replied, her voice distant yet certain. "The node isn't a weapon, it's a catalyst. It doesn't give power, it unlocks potential that's already there." In orbit around Mars, the Concordat's initial assault faltered as Earth's defenses responded with unexpected precision. Missiles intercepted with perfect timing. Shield harmonics adjusted automatically to counter Concordat weapon frequencies. Earth's smaller fleet moved with a coordination that confounded the attackers' tactical systems. Overseer Thalcor's voice cut through the communications. "This is impossible. Your technology is centuries behind ours." "Not anymore," Ilara responded. Through the node, she could sense the Concordat's confusion turning to genuine fear. "The precursors didn't leave these nodes for species like yours, Overseer. You evolved away from the very traits the nodes were designed to enhance." "Lies," Thalcor hissed. "The Concordat has maintained galactic order for 50 millennia. We are the pinnacle of evolution." "You're the pinnacle of logic," Ilara corrected. "But the universe isn't governed by logic alone. The precursors understood that creativity, intuition, and even emotion aren't evolutionary weaknesses. They're cognitive tools that allow for quantum leaps in understanding." As she spoke, the node's influence continued to spread. Humans across the solar system reported sudden insights, solutions to problems that had confounded them for years. Scientists and engineers found themselves making intuitive leaps that bypassed decades of research. It wasn't mind control or external knowledge being imposed. It was humanity's own potential being accelerated, barriers removed that they hadn't even known existed. In the space battle above Mars, Earth's forces were not merely holding their own. They were pushing the Concordat back. Human pilots anticipated enemy maneuvers before they occurred. Targeting systems achieved impossible accuracy. Defense grids reconfigured in real time to counter changing threats. This is what the precursors were searching for, Ilara explained, as much to herself as to those around her. Species that could transcend their evolutionary limitations without sacrificing the cognitive diversity that drives innovation. "The Concordat fleet is retreating," announced Jackson, disbelief evident in his voice. "They're pulling back to the outer system." Ilara opened her eyes, the node's glow diminishing as she withdrew her hand. The knowledge remained, not as raw information, but as deeper understanding. Insights that would transform humanity's place in the cosmos. "Open a channel to Overseer Thalkor," she instructed. When the Concordat leader's face appeared on the screen, his expression was unreadable, but his 3 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of agitation in his species. "You've made your point, human," he said coldly. "The Concordat acknowledges your unexpected capabilities." "This doesn't have to be a conflict, Overseer," Ilara replied. The nodes weren't left to divide species, but to identify those ready for the next evolutionary step. The precursors understood something your Concordat forgot long ago. True advancement comes not from eliminating diversity, but from embracing it. Thalkor's expression shifted subtly. "And what do you propose, Captain?" "A new relationship, not as primitive and advanced species, but as civilizations with different evolutionary paths, each with something to teach the other." The negotiations that followed reshaped the galactic order. The Concordat, for all its age and technological sophistication, had reached an evolutionary plateau. Their perfect logic had brought them to the limits of what pure reason could achieve. In humanity, they discovered a species whose cognitive architecture, messy, emotional, and often irrational, could make creative leaps their own minds could not conceive. 1 year after the Battle of Mars, Captain Ilara Rice stood before the newly formed Galactic Council, a body that now included Earth as a full member, despite humanity's relative youth among the stars. The activation of the precursor node was not an ending but a beginning. She addressed the assembled representatives. "What we've learned confirms what humans have always suspected, that consciousness itself is the most powerful force in the universe, not because it gives us technology or weapons, but because it allows us to transcend our own limitations." The Concordat delegates, including Overseer Thalkor, listened with new respect. Their initial fear of humanity had transformed into cautious fascination. The species they had dismissed as primitive had accessed insights their own civilization had missed despite millennia of advancement. "The precursors didn't leave the nodes as weapons," Ilara continued. "They left them as keys designed to unlock doors in species that had evolved the capacity to see beyond the obvious, to imagine what could be rather than simply analyze what is." In research facilities across Earth, scientists continued to explore the implications of the node's activation. The breakthrough hadn't granted humanity magical powers or instantaneous technological supremacy. Instead, it had accelerated their natural development, helping them overcome cognitive bottlenecks that might otherwise have taken centuries to navigate. Ships venturing into deep space discovered more nodes, each responding uniquely to human interaction. Some contained scientific knowledge, others philosophical insights. All confirmed what the first node had revealed, that the precursors had valued consciousness diversity above all else, seeing it as the key to transcending the limitations of physical existence. As Earth's first embassy on the Concordat homeworld opened its doors, humanity found itself in an unprecedented position, respected not for military might or technological advancement, but for the very traits that other species had once dismissed as weaknesses. In the endless expanse of the cosmos, the galaxy had thought it knew the limits of power until humanity broke every barrier, not through force or dominance, but through the unique architecture of the human mind. A mind that balanced logic with intuition, analysis with creativity, and reason with emotion in ways that opened doors long closed to other species. And as humanity stepped through those doors, they carried with them the understanding that had eluded even the mighty Concordat. True power lies not in perfection, but in embracing the beautiful imperfections that drive evolution forward. The stars that had once seemed so distant now beckoned with infinite possibility. Humanity had found its place in the cosmos not by conquering it, but by understanding it in ways no species had managed before. The galaxy would never be the same again.